Hello my friends, this is Chico Lopez. We're gonna have a great time today, tonight, whenever you see this video. I promise you that. You know, coffee please. No sugars, no cream, no nothing. Just black coffee. Jet black coffee. Why nobody else has my dogs? Part 2. A lot of people asking me questions. My friends that got my dogs, they love it. They want to have a little bit of understanding. And instead of having a few conversations here and there, say, let me just give a little bit of drop. Just drop a little crumbs of my table of knowledge. So these people understand that when my books come out, it's going to be completely phenomenal on so many different levels. People ask me all the time, they say, Chico, why don't you write a book? We've been asking, we've been begging you for years to write a book. And I always been saying, I'm not going to write a book. I'm going to write several books. But everything has to be perfect. Everything, I like to work with excellence. And there'll be a moment when I start dropping these books, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be the books that people are going to be using in high levels, high areas. Everything, I like it to be at the upper level, upper nonchalant. Guys, talking about Mayday dogs, the very best of it. This guy right here, David Goggins, again, read the book, Can't Hurt Me. Amazing guy, amazing individual, amazing dogs, amazing everything. Now let's go into this. You know, I got contacted by a guy the other day, and that's why I kind of want to get into this, because a few guys asked me about, hey Chico, you know, and I had a long conversation with one of them, one of my clients. And after I had this long conversation, of course, what he do? He called the other client of mine, started talking to him about this, and then I had to go all over again. And then by the time he contacted the third one, I said, listen to me, hold on one second. If I continue with this, it's going to take me 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to make a video. I'm going to give you guys this. In a way, I'm going to share with you guys. I can do this in a group, but I can do it everybody now. Mayday dogs. Why you can find a Mayday dog in any garbage can, kennel, any garbage trash can kennel around the world. The backyard breed. Remember the thing I made with my hands when I'm showing you the cyber dogger? He has Mayday dogs. The backyard thug, he has Mayday dogs. The low-life breeder sell to anybody, he has Mayday dogs. The show guy has Mayday dogs. The breeder, collector, whatever the hell he is, he has Mayday dogs. The dogger has Mayday dogs. The dogman has Mayday dogs. And the elite level has Mayday dogs. And then the elite global level, best of the best, Chico Lopez also has Mayday dogs. Are they the same dogs? They're not the same. This is one of the biggest mistakes that dorks make when they buy dogs. They think about dogs in the context of a pedigree, and they take a pedigree. Let's suppose, give me a pedigree so I can show these guys. They take a pedigree like this, for instance, right? Take a pedigree like this, for instance, and they go back and they say, well, Grand Champion Mayday is here, and Blondie is here, and all these dogs, my dog got this in the pedigree, my dog got this dog in the pedigree, my dog got this. Listen, every member right here, the members right here are very important. And how these members came about is even more important. How those members came about is in a different video, but how these members are is a different video. When it comes to Mayday, I was able to, and I'm going to put something here very clearly before we go. I'm going to put some guidelines on this video so you guys can understand. Number one, I have to give you my merits. Remember what I told you? Don't ever listen to anybody's video if you haven't listened to their merits. My name is Chico Lopez. I've been to so many countries giving seminars to promote the breed in a positive way, from Indonesia to Czech Republic to United States, Mexico, several cities, Brazil, several cities, all over around the world. Thailand, whatever you mention it. I've been there talking to people. Russia, I've been talking to people and telling them about the breed. Now, when it comes to my accolades, which are the ones, the powerful merits, I can throw you 2 merits and it will blow anybody off the water. One, there's probably a third one that I'm very proud of. The only man that 4 times has done Grand Champion and Champion the same night. Same man. Automatically, this will qualify me in a group by my own. One big pedestal above everybody, only one man. You can ask anybody, say, listen, how many times you made a Grand Champion, champion single night? that person's opinion is not going to be as good as mine. I've been there 4 times. You will be in my books. When it comes to dogmen of the year, very powerful thing. 4 times. I don't have 5, 6, or 7 because I said I don't want to continue with this thing because the whole thing attaches to other people that I'm not happy with, and I said that's enough is enough. When it comes to dog of the year, you know, a lot of people wait for the dog of the year. The times, things have values to different times. My dog of the year, when we had Ciega the Great, is the undefeated, undisputed. There's no questions about that this is the global dog of the year, bar none. When you have that caliber animal, dog of the year, okay? 7 global grand champions. The 31 probably going to even more champions. Some of them global champions, some of them of different levels, amazing dogs all over the world. Have you ever seen a single man that came over and said, listen, I've been involved into breeding and making these 12, 13, 14 rum dogs? You haven't seen that. There's no such a thing as having these men that have these rum dogs. This is who I am. Now, I'm a retired dogman. Today, I'm a breeder. I'm here to save the breed and put it in the hands of the best humans on earth. That's why I'm here. My purpose in life has been to save the breed and put it in the hands of the best humans in the planet. So you're listening to this video is made for you, the greatest humans in the planet. Okay? So it's not made for anybody else. Of course, this channel will get a lot of people coming in from all over the place. So it's going to hurt some people's feelings. And that's okay. I'm so perfectly okay with that. So when it comes to Mayday dog, every trash can in the world has a Mayday dog. From the dogger to the sidebar dogger to the breeder to whatever, anybody has a Mayday dog. Mayday dogs were sold by the bucket. And people were buying them at the time in the 1990s and 2000s. All right? But not all Mayday dogs were the same. The mother was very important. Whenever you went to the Mayday website, you can see all these different females that some of them were gifted to the owner of the dogs. We're going to call him Mr. B.A. V.A. V.A. used to be the man that owned Grand Champion Mayday. Remember, he owned it. He didn't breed it. Absolutely a super great friend of mine. And the reason why I'm saying he didn't breed it is because it's a fact. But the reason why I say he didn't breed it is because I'm going to get into a second. If you hold on for a second, I'm going to get to a dog that he will be even more proud to own than Mayday. Say, what? That's correct. Even more proud to breed than Mayday. I'll get there in a second. Just hang on for a moment. So this was Mayday, his best friend. He says that Mayday lives within himself. We talk every day. We talk about different things in life. He doesn't have any dogs. We are very good friends. I have absolutely the maximum respect for him, maximum respect for the very best dogmen before him. I have absolutely, I'm not an idiot. I do understand that if this great man behind me didn't come about building this stuff, I wouldn't be able to have the basis to build my bloodline. Okay? When it came to buying the dogs, I walked into the breed with the suit and tie. I didn't walk like a bum. I didn't walk like someone from the streets. I didn't walk like a thug. I walked with a suit and tie. When I was a very young man, and the only thing I wanted was something that I made so simple. For someone to own the very best American Pitbull Terrier in the world. That's why I made it. Own the very best American Pitbull Terrier in the world. Now, Mayday was the king. He came over and took over what was a yard of 50, 60 black dogs. Somehow, all the black dogs started to leave. It was a phenomenon. Not all of them did it, but many. Trust me when I tell you many. You had to leave in those days. Many yards turned out to be reds and buckskin dogs. That happened. There was the Mayday effect, okay? Guys that never had different bloodlines, and they didn't understand, like, what bloodline you're running. They didn't understand this. They had a bloodline, they used it for 20, 30 years, and they understood that they didn't go anywhere, that the dogs they had were never as good as Mayday. They got rid of all their dogs, and they started breeding Mayday dogs. And I spoke to many of those men back then, and they told me there was a huge difference. They were very... So, as we go through these Mayday dogs, now, you're thinking, everybody has Mayday dogs. My question was not, who had the best Mayday dogs? Everybody was chirping and talking, but I want to see with my own eyes. I want to be able to touch the dogs. Touch the dogs is very, very important. Look at the dogs with your own eyes is extremely important. It makes a huge difference between the man that hear what somebody told him. When you hear something from a hater, when you hear something from a fanboy, you have some guys that are fanboys. They fall in love with anything. They have no ability to understand quality, and they fall in love with something, and they come talking to you about this is the greatest, whatever. You fall in love with that because you buy the idea. This person might be a parallel to you. You get that idea, you follow the guy's idea, and all of a sudden you find yourself in a hole. By the time you several $1,000s invested in dogs, you're done. So I wanted to see everything by myself. I had the best advice, and I was very well connected to the main man, Mr. VA. Okay? Mr. VA and I already had talked about which were going to be his best dogs. Of course, Lucane was the first one to come out. Made a lot of noise, first grand champion for Grand Champion Mayday. Barracuda came about, and other dogs came about. The females from here, from there. So now talking about a little bit more scientifically, we're going to talk about what's clusters. Clusters basically means that in 1 liter, and this is how the breed is made. The breed is made on clusters. That's how the breed is made, in clusters. You get a bucket. Let's say you have a thing that's spinning, and you put balls inside, and what's going to mix all the balls. You have buckets with red balls, yellow balls, white balls, black balls, all balls. You put them inside, and you rotate them. When you put a bucket inside and take them out, you're supposed to have, if the bucket holds 100 balls, you're supposed to have 20 and 20 and 20 of every color. Or if you have 10 buckets, it'll be 10, 10, 10 of each color. Whenever you have the bucket, half of the bucket is red, there's a cluster of red colors. It's a simple way to explain it. I can become more scientific, but I want to put the cookies on the lower shelf. That's a cluster. Grand Champion Yellow came from a cluster. He came from a cluster. He had a brother that was a grand champion, had a sister that was a champion. I'm not quite sure about any other winners, but he came from a cluster. And his mother came from a cluster of very deep game dogs. And at this particular point, we're going to take the word of a very reputable, when I say reputable, doesn't mean he got backed up by some thugs. Reputable by merits in terms of the dogs he was producing and the quality of the individuals that come down and go to him for advice. His name was Mr. Hollingsworth. He was working what they call Patrick dogs, basically because they were the Tombstone Bolio dogs, descendant of the breedings of Pat Patrick. Quick story. When he had his female, came in heat, he flew to John Bemis STP to do the breeding, and he walked to him and said, listen, I'm coming here to breed to the Bolio dog. So Bemis said, hey, listen, the dog is right here. It's grand champion right now. Everybody's talking about him. And that was Buck. And we'll talk about Buck in a different video. But just think about why Mr. Hollingsworth said, no, not interested on Buck. That's why Chico Lopez is not interested on Buck so much. I made some mistakes in the past by using the name and promoting it, but I'm not interested in it. Understand the two different points. Not at this level. When he came, I'm not saying the dog is garbage. I'm not saying the dog is bad. He's actually a pretty good dog. He pretty good mixes with my bloodline. He is within my pedigrees. But I saw preferences with him before it comes to the dog. When he came to that moment, Hollingsworth said, I want to get the other dog. So what, Cody? Yes, the dog that ate the leg. He said, the dog is so stupid. He bred to the dog because he was dead game. He bred to the dog, and that's where Hollingsworth only came from. The basis of Hollingsworth was being a really, really game dog, solid build, beautiful dog. And so it happens to be in a different story. I'll tell you a story different another time, how this combination of Yellow and Hollingsworth came together. It's very important to understand this basis. The men that were involved, they were high caliber men. These are not the typical dogs. It was not the guys that had the channels and stuff like that. These were real dogmen. Dogmen that you don't have today in 2020. You do not have this level of dogmen. Those dogmen are gone. They're not here. Okay? So when it comes to this level, that was what the first cluster, which is Yellow. When this breeding happened, there was another cluster that was born. And on this cluster, you had Grand Champion Mayday, Champion Choice, Champion Dragon Lady, and I believe there was a one-time winner, two-time winner, other dogs, including a brother of Mayday that supposedly was better than Mayday that died during the hurricane in Florida. This was a litter of monster dogs. This was an amazing litter of beautiful, amazing dogs. This was a cluster, okay? So when it came to Mayday, the whole idea was to look for the clusters. And people started thinking about these formulas, 50-50, 30, 75-25, blah, blah, blah. Fact is that my friend VA tried to do the same breeding by Hollingsworth Dolly, which he purchased as well with Mayday, that he bred these Hollingsworth bitch to reputable dogs from reputable people to some point, using the pedigree stuff, whatever, to make them mathematics. None of those dogs were half as good. And I tell you this with all honesty. I had two brothers in my life directly of Hollingsworth Dolly. One I purchased from a guy, and one was given to me directly by BA. BA actually said, Chico, I want to give you this dog as a gift. And he gave me the dog, and the dog was in my house. The dog passed away, but I can tell by the dog, I have a good eye for a dog. He was a gamey dog, little hot dog and stuff like that, but he wasn't built like Mayday. He wasn't built like my dogs I have today. He was not even near the quality of dogs that we have today. So it was a great team from VA, and I'm very happy and very honored to him, very honored. Now, when it came to these breedings also, they did several breedings where there were 75-25, and the several breedings where the 50-50 and heavy Rebel Jacko females, because everything was like this. It's Rebel Jacko and Tombstone Volume. So the 75-25, 75-25, 50-50, they were the combinations that we're making. Almost at the same time that Dolly and Yellow were being bred, there was another breeding that became a cluster. And this is a very unbiased and biased video. Unbiased because I'm going to tell you the facts, okay? And the facts is these people are really, through time I understood these people, they're not on my level in terms of human quality, but they did their merits. And these guys had a female, was a heavy Rebel Jacko female, and they bred this Rebel Jacko female directly to buck. And on this breeding, they had a grand champion. I believe they had a champion, a two-time winner, a winner, but they had a little cluster going on in there. The one dog that was brother to Blondie, because we're talking about Blondie, the one brother to Blondie, he was a runner-up to Mayday. His quality he was more than decent. He was a good dog. And he produced his share of good dogs as well. Okay? Take zero credit. I'm giving all the credit they deserve on that. Okay? So these guys were involved in this breeding of Blondie. Okay? They were involved in this breeding of Blondie. And so Blondie was bred the other way of Grand Champion Mayday. Mayday was Rebel Jacko on top, the Tombstone Bolio on the bottom. Okay? So you have Rebel Jacko on top, Tombstone Bolio on the bottom. And Blondie was bred the other way. It was the Tombstone Bolio on top and the Rebel Jacko on the bottom. Now, understand that whenever you put the pedigree together, you're going to have two grandparents that are grand champions. Okay? Two grandparents, because Yellow is a grand champion and Grand Champion Buck is a grand champion. Remember I told you that Rebel Jacko female bred to Grand Champion Buck? And so you have Rebel Jacko grand champion, Patrick Tombstone Bolio, a male, which is Buck, and then you have a Hollingsworth female, which is Patrick female, and in the bottom you have a heavy Rebel Jacko female, which is the female called Awesome Baby. Awesome Baby, beautiful name by the way, Awesome Baby. So when it comes together, this is the pedigree which composed the making of these dogs. You have two clusters going into each other. When I was doing the mathematics, I understood that this breeding had a lot of chances to become a great breeding. So automatically from the Bronx, New York, I called my friend VA and I asked him, I said, there's a chance to get a puppy on the next litter coming up because he already had done the breeding, I think once or maybe twice, and there was a chance to get a puppy. And he said, yes, you can get a puppy. Long story short, I went through the process, stuff like that, but I didn't get a puppy. We still, everything is going, but I'm not getting a puppy. It's okay, I'm not getting a puppy. Things will come my way in the future. Move from Houston to Texas, and you have these individuals that are completely despicable human beings in many, many different areas that till today, my friend VA almost cries when he regrets heavily having to have these two completely rookies, to have these two dogs. One was called Macho One Time Winner. I called him Macho One Time Winner. As a puppy, obviously, he was not a one time winner, but I call him Macho One Time Winner so we can differentiate that this is the original Macho. The Macho buck was not the original dog. It was called Macho. And this Macho One Time Winner is a very special dog. And they acquire a female later, okay, and the second litter, I believe is the same litter as Demian, which is a dog that was delivered to California. I'm going to tell you the story. There were other dogs as well that were involved. One of them was one that called Comeback, and it was a gamey dog. And I saw some dogs of a Comeback, they had a little bit of bloodline, has some of the qualities. They did have some of the qualities, and they have shown the closer they were to Comeback, the better the dogs were. The further away these guys started mixing them, they lost their touch, and the dogs became very common dogs. Because these are breeding dogs, in one breeding you can destroy all your dreams, okay? It takes you a long time to build them up, but in one breeding you can destroy your dreams. So here we go, you're listening to a guy with the pedigree that I told you before, and I am the only man in the whole planet Earth, except VA, that actually touched with his hands these dogs. When he shipped them out to America, he touched them, they were puppies. And I was able to put my hands on top of Macho, One Time Winner. I put my hands on top of Macha, mother of Macho Buck. And I put my hands on top of Demian. At one point, I touched these dogs with my own hands. I touched Macho, Macha, and Demian, okay? I touched them. And with this particular thing, I am very different than everybody. People talk about Demian a lot, chirping, because Demian had many dogs that dropped, many by the bucket, before it came to me. People own him in California. They said the dog was a cur dog, it stopped, he was no good, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about times, all times. And I still went and got the dog because a lot of people talk out of jealousy. And whenever I see some hater talking, to me, it's like, he says, the hater said, don't go that way. I react the same way the owner, the smart people react when someone talks bad about me. The worse they talk about me, the more interested they get about me. So when they were hating on Demian, I understood. And then when I look at the reasons why they're hating on him, I say, he's just a hater talking. So anyhow, Demian came to me, Macha came to me, and stood in my house. The reason why Macha came to me is because the owners were playboys. You know, those little playboys, or boys that play with boys. I will say that, boys that play with boys. And these boys that play with boys didn't have the time. They needed to file their nails, and they had the little thing here, shiny and stuff, and you know, looking all pretty. They wouldn't take care of dogs. Their family, grandmother used to take care of dogs, nice lady. And she was already a sick person. She had cancer, couldn't take care of dogs. I went over to take care of the dogs. The dogs came to my house, Macho and Macho. I was able to see them in their environment. I was able to do observation, to watch them, put a chair on the side of the change spot, walk them at night, had a feeling of their character, had a feeling of how they behave under certain conditions. One thing that differentiates me and a lot of people is that I have a lot of hours of observation. Lots of hours of observation. If there is one thing that I'm really good at, is looking and thinking, and my wheels are spinning. And yes, nobody else, not in Texas, not anywhere, touched all these dogs together. I did. So when Macho was in my house, I was able to look at him in action, and I saw an amazing animal. Before I get to this point, I'm going to rewind a little bit, and I'm going to tell you that all the other clusters, from Barracuda, from the mother of Annabelle and Chanel, and all these dogs, I forgot her name right now. What's her name? I forgot her name. Was a Rebel Jacko female, a daughter of a grand champion of yellow. I forgot his name. And these females right here produce clusters. MAYDAY has 6 clusters in his bloodline. 6 really good clusters. The most amazing cluster is the cluster of MAYDAY Blondie. But the MAYDAY Blondie dogs have a big problem.
Golden Girl.
It was called Golden Girl, right? It was called Golden Girl. That's right. It was a cold female, they say, and it was called Golden Girl. They make all these dogs. that belonged to a guy in Florida. Now, when it comes to, pay attention, when it comes to the cluster of MAYDAY Blondie, those dogs, Barracuda, Lucane, went to people that were actually active people. You understand? They were active people. They were able to develop the dogs. When it came to Macha and Macho, they went to these two Turks, and they would not be able to develop because these two Turks are just two Turks. And so all the leader of MAYDAY Blondie basically got lost into the sweet talkers that can pay big money, and the dogs got lost. Very sad story about to tell you. Okay, and then I'll tell you a very positive story. The two dogs, Macho and Macha. I was able to see Macha, play with her a little bit, and she wouldn't want to do anything. Okay, she wouldn't want to do anything. Talking about 2001, 2002, 2003 maximum. She didn't want to do anything. And, you know, I didn't like her too much because when she didn't want to do anything, she will do things and moves that usually when the dog don't want to do anything, don't do. You understand? She was making nasty moves, showing teeth and acting on ways of a dog that is actually scared. So I didn't like it too much, but I still wanted to give it a chance. Then she left my yard and she went on to have the litter of Macho Buck and 357 Junior and all these dogs, Alondra, etc., etc. With Macho, it was a complete different story. Macho was this type of dog. Damian was here, Macha was here, and all the other leader mates were here, around here. When it came to Macho Wantan Winner, he was head, shoulders, and all his body above flying over these dogs. He was such a different animal. He was built even differently. His snout, his everything, his character, the way he walked like awesome buck. He will go around, he will look at something, start screaming, whoa! He was an amazing dog. And when I finally got to see him, I already seen Barracuda, I already seen 600, I already seen Oso de Ricardo, I already seen, what's his name, Annabelle, all these dogs in Chanel. And when I got to see her, to see Macho, I called VA and I said, this one here is completely different. This is in another level because of the speed, the tremendous thunderous speed that he has. The screaming, the ability to get to a wild hog, a wild pig, and completely destroy him with every bite. He has a better bite for a hog hunter than anything I've seen with all the MAYDAY dogs. So BA was very, very happy. The problem was this dog was with these Turks, and they wanted to have this dog to be shown. These Turks will never know how to discover a weight on a dog or nothing, and they hooked this dog into a hog. It was a very famous hog, big hog, that already had gone into two sons of MAYDAY and had obliterated them, had finished them. So this was the hog, the wild pig with the big tusk, and it was called the hog, the MAYDAY hunter. Okay, but instead of being hunted by the MAYDAY dogs, he destroyed the MAYDAY dogs. And he was Macho going and had two great men involved into this. You had two completely miserable nobodies that through BA, they got connected to a man to condition the dog. STP, John Bemis, top of the line guy, what second best in the world. And then you have another man, the man that was in the Jeep Homer deal. My mind goes a little off right now, but it was a really, really great guy. Okay, and he was the one with the in the middle. And this dog went there and won. The problem with this dog was that this was in New York, in Pennsylvania, near New York. And it was early February, and it was extremely cold and freezing temperatures. And when Bemis gave this Macho to these dogs, already one-time winner, superstar, everybody celebrating, this is the next MAYDAY, these guys let this dog freeze to death. They left him in a kennel. They drove for hours until they needed gas. He was in the back of a pickup truck, getting all the blazer and everything. And they took him in there. By the time they opened the kennel, they couldn't get the dog out. They had to open up the kennel to save the kennel, take the dog, put it in the trash can. That's correct. Those are the, oh my God, I'm gonna call this guy. That's the guy right there. Same guys, they have Macha. Macha had little puppies, 10 puppies, beautiful puppies. They were very healthy, very nice puppies. There were puppies of a dog called 357. I'm not going to talk much in detail of 357 because, again, I want to talk about dogs that I touch. If you ever come to my channel, you'll understand that I don't promote dogs that I didn't touch. I don't talk about dogs and start talking and daydreaming and Queen So Hard and Black Spider and Grand Champion Hummer and blah, blah, blah. I don't talk about dogs. I talk about dogs I have. Listen, how miserable can you be that you can't even talk about the things you have? You got to talk about other dogs. So these 357, I know stories about him, not the ones that I like, and I will develop in some point, in some place, why I don't like 357 that much. I mean, it is attractive to see all this race to the merits and on the stuff, yes. But when you look in detail to the Buck bloodline, and me talking to Williams Gaston on the phone in 1989 and 2000, you know, we had some conversations about these dogs and the ability to have conversations with Mr. Burns and some people in the Carolinas back then. And the ability of production, you understand? You had the people with the Rebel Jacko dogs, you had the people with the Buck dogs, and the people with the Rebel Jacko dogs were always on top. They were the better dogs in general. But the Buck dogs have a little bit of impact on that yard. And yes, the pedigree was beautiful. But a lot of times he's like this, and I said it. When you look at a pedigree and you look at the merits of a dog, there are levels to those merits, and there is ways, details that tell you about those merits. There's a lot of champions that almost are not champions, and there's a lot of great champions that you look at them, when you see them, you say like, man, I'm so sorry. You know, I wouldn't take this dog. You know, for example, a video that's all over the internet of that dog of the century, I want to say his name. You look at the dog, picking, looking, thinking, you know, what is this? You know what I'm saying? Aren't you supposed to be the dog of the century? This doesn't happen with regular mutts. Not quality at all. But yes, of course, it's going to be the backyard breeders and some people that like to make some noise will like to get attached to that. But going back to this. When you look at the Mayday Blondie dogs, there's a huge difference. A huge difference. Damien was a dog that didn't have too much air. Okay? He was not blessed with air. I worked him, I conditioned him. It was a little difficult to put him in shape. I had him ready to go, and it couldn't happen. He was a 7-year-old dog, and I was able to put him in really spectacular shape. He was in my house. He was better than Macha for sure, because he was a little bulldog, okay? But when you had Macho, you had an F-35 type of dog, you understand? An amazing shotgun dog. But Macho was gone too soon. And when you look at the ability of production, you look at these two Turks had a female called Two-Face female. They bought it for $300 in a neighborhood in Houston, Texas. It was a heavy, snooty dog. And this dog that was heavy, snooty dog came to them, and they tried this dog. And this dog was so miserable, so low level in terms of quality in genetics. Maybe a great pet, but when it comes to genetics for reproduction and preserving any breed, that was completely a zero, below zero. And I remember when I approached them, and they are trying to breed these dogs. And these two boys, you know, Macho was big, the female was small, they couldn't get to hook, and the light was coming in, the street light was hitting it, they had some dust on the floor, and the dust was full of little spots, every semen, you know, when the dog is shooting before the load comes in, he's shooting this liquid, and it was sperm liquid or liquid, whatever you call the liquid. It was there on the floor. And this guy, with the light, I can see him, he's getting all this on his face. I was like, I should have known. I mean, at that moment I said, this guy right here, is something weird with him, because, you know, you wouldn't even wipe your face, you know, wash your face, so be careful. But anyhow, at this particular point, the breeding was done, and out of this breeding, 2 dogs came out. The female was completely not good. Macho one-time winner produced 2 amazing dogs, because I have to be honest, the 2 dogs were amazing. And they were half a donkey on top of a race, on the bottom of a racehorse. That's exactly how it was done. When it came to Damien was the dog that people at one point didn't want to have. You know, Macho was the one that gave value to Damien. Macho gave value to Damian. Macho became famous. Now Damian, that was a nobody, started to become famous. So his price went up because Macho made him famous. And then Macho, with the leader of Macho Bulk and all the stuff that was going on, the advertising and everything else, at that particular point, Macho became, and people started paying attention to these Mayday Blondie dogs. Now you must understand something on this, because this is all historical, it's from the past. So it takes a little bit more to explain because history, I cannot extract anything. When it comes to Macha, it's also another very sad story. Macha was on there was a chain spot on a concrete slab, brand new concrete slab, white color, in Houston. I don't know if you know Houston, if you're in Texas. Whenever it's like 11 o'clock in the morning, the sun is so hot and it's beaming in the summertime. Well, Macha wanted to go and pee. And these boys on a Friday night or Saturday night, maybe Friday night, they put her outside to pee. And they put her outside to pee. I'm supposed to go see a puppy in the morning. And I drive into the place around 4 o'clock the next day. Boom, boom, nobody opens. Boom, boom, nobody opens. The cars are there, nobody opens. Then I go outside, and Macha is about that big. She blew up. These boys had taken the female, put her outside the chain, and no cover, went out to a party with some of the boys, and left the dog in there, and got cooked by the sun. So you got two Mayday Blondie dogs. For in my opinion, two, especially Macho. Macho was the man. Macho made everybody shine. Macho died frozen. They didn't care about Macho. And then Macha died cooked. There is a third Mayday Blondie dog that I'll leave it for books or something else. I will. The stories is shocking. Honestly, same crew, same groups, And today you have these little boys on the internet. Oh, we are the team. We are the team. They are the team of what? We are the team of what? The guys that own the dogs, they did everything they did, and you guys today are the team. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And straight facts. These dogs, both of them died. It was a complete shameless stuff. Complete. I'm a dogman. You remember I told you I'm a dogman? That's why I gave you that little guide so you can see where dogman is. When it comes to understanding the difference between Macho, Macha, and Damian, it is huge. When it comes to genetics, it is like this. There are connectors that Macha has that are incomplete to complete Macho. Macho was a complete beast. Macho was the replacement to replace Mayday and make a better dog than Mayday. My opinion, Macho was faster, was a better dog. Now remember, I did touch Mayday. So when it comes to these qualities, Macho was the better dog. Macha was a way inferior dog, and Damian also was way inferior dog. So for most people that do not understand pedigrees, and this goes for my friends, my clients, when you look at a pedigree, just because this pedigree right here, I'm looking here at Macho right here, just because you find this element with a different name, Damian, Macha, whatever the case might be, is not the same as Macho Wanton Winner. It is not. Macho Wanton Winner was the beginning of the golden vein. He is the one with the biggest amount of qualities. So whenever you have a dog with Macha or Damian, and we breed or they breed it, I even try. I have to be honest. I did try. Listen. I'm gonna give you an example. The desert rat stuff, right? We bought about 30 dogs here in Brazil. About 30. We brought everything that we found, and people know this is true to be the fact. We brought everything we found. California, New Mexico, Arizona. We bought everything. Some in Mexico. We bought them all. We bought them. Pam, pam, pam. It's a team. We buying. I buy this one. I buy that one. Bring all the dogs. You know how many of them work out for me? 0. But there was one female in Arizona or New Mexico, sister of Doc Holliday, calling me Jane, and I drove at the time from Houston, and I stalked her with Damian because they wanted to see how this combination works. He produced one dog. One good dog. His name was MAYDAY Jr. I'm sorry, Damian Jr. Damian Jr. stood in Mexico. At the very end of the day, the Mexicans stole it from me. And I'm not saying that all Mexicans are bad, but these Mexicans right here that I'm talking about, they're Mexicans. They're not Cubans. They're Mexicans. These Mexicans here stole them from me. And today, a friend of mine said, oh, I met some guys the other day near Sao Paulo. And that was the only dog that we saw that I like near Sao Paulo. A guy from Mexico had it. He said, was a dog from your Damian Jr. stuff. Almost 15 years ago. And if you ask them, no. But when they're not in front of me, yeah, we got this dog from Chico. You know how it is. Chico don't like to share his stuff. The dog was there. We had some bitches in here and we bred him. Anyhow, that dog right there was not even a shadow of the quality of dogs that Macho one-time winner produced. I'll give you a perfect sample. We bred Damian to a female called Chiquita. Okay? Just Chiquita. The dogs, not one was worth keeping. But when I bred Chiquita to Awesome Buck, I have a female called Jane. I have a one-time winner called Chiquito. They are very good dogs. Not the best dogs in the world, I'm not exaggerating. They were good. I bred these dogs back to Damian, and the whole picture was completely different. Why is so different? Pretty simple when it comes to genetics. Damian is missing connectors. These connectors are missing, and when I go into the desert rat, they don't meet. They don't produce the same quality dogs. When you take Awesome Buck and you produce Awesome Buck to this raggy female thinker, didn't do nothing special, belonged to a butcher, a guy that don't nothing about dogs, had a brother, bred that brother to other dogs, Frank something dogs. We brought him to Brazil. Not one is worth it. Not one. He knows it because we send the videos of the dogs standing. Okay? And I'm not going to say that all the dogs that came off Awesome Buck and Tinker were the best. He saw me a male who was no good. It was his favorite dog. He doesn't have an eye because, of course, a butcher. Well, freaking eye can he have? It has no merits at all. But that guy had this dog, and the dog was no good. Didn't meet my standards. But the brother did. And because of my merits, my qualities, the dog produced back me. But the story is also some story for a different moment. But here we go. We got this dog here, Damian, and his ability to produce. And Damian needed these connectors that he's missing to become the complete Macho one-time winner. Awesome Buck has those. Awesome Buck has those. Completely. When Awesome Buck was born, I looked at him and I knew that I hit the jackpot. I called VA. I called the breeder of the female, which was Cheyenne. And I told him, you need to breed the mother of Cheyenne to Macho, which it did happen. My friend kept Macho and bred him to 3 females. Amazing dogs came out of it. This guy didn't care because he got tricked by those. You remember the 2 boys that I told you about? They let those dogs cook, and one cook in the sun and die. He didn't care about this guy. He said, this guy's a garbage. And he did it his way. That was his own call. But there were 3 breedings unreported or unknown to most people out of Macho one-time winner. And some really good females came out of it. And an amazing male as well, from as far as I know. And when it comes to Macho bred to the two-face $300 cur dog, let me tell you something. When they bred this dog, they were going to send this dog to Victor. And I said, you can't send the dog to this guy. And what they did was, they sold this dog to a guy, just a furniture salesman. I think it was for $400. When the guy got her, she started putting a belly. And the guy said, look, she's pregnant. And they told her, well, it's pregnant from this dog. You can ask Chico. They said, yeah, it's a very good dog. He said, hey. The guy said, listen, when the puppies are born, I'll give you half of the litter. They were free dogs. And those free dogs came over, and that's Champion Cena and Tutamone Diesel. Out of 2 dogs born in the house of a furniture guy. Furniture guy had half of the litter. Maybe they're in Houston somewhere. But these puppies were giving back to these guys. These guys took them and gave them to a complete delusional guy in Houston, the Houston areas. A guy that will do dogs in his own yard, and he will call his own dogs grand champion and champion without leaving his yard. They're grand champions, complete numerical disorder, because they have those over there in Houston. But going back to this, you see how Matcha was producing only 1 liter? That liter of Macho Buck, when he was a puppy, was the most beautiful dog. I cannot believe they offered me this dog for $1,500 together with the other MAYDAY Blondie dog that I told you we're going to talk about later. Together. And I didn't buy them. Later on, I didn't buy them. But I should have bought them. I should have bought them because I would have made something better with them because of my qualities. But on that litter, you had Alondra, which was a decent dog. She was not a super dog. It was decent. Macho Buck, his career, his legacy, his real legacy, okay? He did not produce anything special. I can tell you this, and I can go into details in other videos, but I'll tell you right now, never got bred his balls off. Belonged to me for some time because he was given to me. Says, you keep the dog. If you ever were able to produce anything, all we want is one breeding to his half-sister. I got him. I said, I'm going to do some testing. I bred him to 2 females. And the dogs they produced were good dogs, were not bad dogs. One was Chiquita, and the other one was Besto Tarno, which got my Demolisher Macho Jr. And my, the other leader I have my Buckworth dog, and I have my global champion, Miss Macho Buck. With these dogs here, I got to see them with my own eyes. Nobody told me. Remember what I told you before? I got to see them, I got to work them, I got to see with them. These dogs were not near as good as Bagman. They were not as near as good as Mechanic Buck. And my friends here in Brazil that seen them, they know that too. Right or wrong. They know the Butcher 9 is a lot better. They know the Bagman is a lot better. Not taking nothing away from the dog. There's a huge difference between good and great. Big difference. So why I don't use this Macho Buck anymore? I have the frozen semen. Because I am the only one that was able to experience the awesome Buck dogs and the Macho Buck dogs. And when I have to choose, there's no comparison. No comparison. Okay? Now, Damien is missing pieces to become as good as Awesome Buck. But when they meet together, they do a good job. It's like Awesome Buck compensates the balance that Damien is missing. Damien produced okay, decent dogs. Here and there, missing, 1 liter, 1 good one maybe 2 sometimes. That's it. You don't get 7 dogs, 7 great dogs. You don't get that. You don't get that, right? Not at top level. Because one thing is elite level. Maybe on the bottom feeders you could do that, okay? Bottom feeders, yes. You look at the guy calls me, says, I want to buy some semen here and there. The guys are broke. You know how many guys I had them, they tell me, please put me in a payment plan to get the Macho Buck semen or to get the Damien semen. They call me. The same haters call me, saying they cannot afford it. When you come and you look at these dogs, MAYDAY Blondie, you got this dog MAYDAY Blondie, you look at Awesome Buck. Look at his career. The things that he done, how beautiful he has been. All the things, even losing, 5 people gave him best in show. That means he has a lot of what? Heart. Why he produced in 1 liter 2 global grand champions, 3 dogs of the year. Did Damien ever produce anything like that? No. Did Damien produce anything near to that level? No. Did Macho Buck ever produce a single grand champion with 1,000 times he got bred? No, he never did. So who is the best MAYDAY Blondie dog? Because we get into what's the best cluster of MAYDAY, Grand Champion MAYDAY. And it is this breeding right here. The reason why the dogs and the real dogmen like VA and myself understand the reason why these dogs didn't became like Macho with it being like Grand Champion. Why he didn't become a Grand Champion? Because he fell in the wrong hands. You can give a monkey a racehorse and that monkey will bring you coconuts. I promise you. You can give a great dog to a dark in Yonkers and he'll rape the dog instead of making him something. This happens. You understand? They'll start to invent in their own way. You understand? Let the dogs hang around. Play around with them. Let me finger a dog. Let me finger the other dog. This happens. People are sick in the head. So, you know, you gotta understand something. When it comes to these Mayday Blondie dogs, there are levels to this thing. And on everything in life, there's levels. But different people are going to tell you their story. Some people are going to tell you a story they heard from people. Some people are going to tell you a story they touch, they seen, they analyze, they compare, they invest, they came back, and they do these things that make things better. Okay? Not everybody's the same. Not everybody has what I had between these two ears. Not everybody has that. Not everybody has the merits. I was able to pick and choose. They were never able to pick and choose. Some guys were able to pick from Macho Buck. Some guys were able to pick from Damien. I'm the only one that's able to pick from Awesome Buck, from Macho Buck, from Damien, mix back and forth, do testing, go back, do testing. So you go into a laboratory, you need to be a scientist. You can just walk there and be the guy that cleans the toilets and say, go back to your lab and see what happened. You can't go to a lab if you're not a genius, if you're not a scientist. You understand? There are levels to this madness. There are levels. And I'm talking about the past, obviously, but there are levels to this madness. So when it comes to the best production dogs, I had about 25, 26 dogs from Barracuda. I went to Florida. How many did I keep? 0. I had chances to get dogs from Hunch. I live 500 feet away from meters away from Hunch. How many dogs I have from Hunch? 0. How many great dogs of a Hunch do you see? 0. How many great dogs of a Barracuda do you see? 0. So I had the guy that contacted me the other day. I told you that at the beginning of the video. And the guy says to me, he says, I have a Mayday dog. That's a good dog for you. Good for you. Enjoy the puppy. Enjoy it as a pet. Then he sent me the pedigree. He showed me a lot of Lucaine, Barracuda stuff. And he wants to know, I feel bad for the guy. That guy probably paid $500 to $1,000. They use frozen semen and all this stuff. He said, listen, I don't want to hurt your feelings. No, but I want to know why mine are so different than yours. They look different, they move different, they act different. Why? Are mine real, your fake, whatever? I said, listen, don't be offended. Listen to me. I'm going to make a video, and this video right here is for you. I told you it was going to help you out. Remember I told you that? Go back to the other video where I made what I show you, and I told you when I sent you the video, I see you didn't buy this dog from this elite level or even from a dogman. You bought that from what I call in the bottom, the thugs, backyard sellers. And that's why you have the dog you have. So when it comes to Mayday Blondie, those are the best dogs. Macho was better performer on one time than all the Barracudas, than all the 600s, than all the other males, better than Hunch. I saw Hunch with my own eyes 3 times. And Hunch was nothing. Could not shine the shoes on Macho one-time winner. I could have breed my dog for free to Barracuda. And I said, no. I pay a stud fee. I remember the guy said, listen, you can do it for free, we're friends. I knew these guys were scumbags. And I said, I'd rather pay for the stud fee. The guy said, well, it's going to be $1,000. I said, you never got $1,000 fee from the dog. I know the dog is good, but I'm the only one that knows the dog is good. What about if I give you 400? He said, no, give me 7. I said, 7 is fair. I'm going to keep all the puppies. And I remember that there was a Super Bowl, and I had to jump the fence to take my dog and do the breedings. And I changed the world of the American Pitbull Terrier in the breeding. I have an advice, of course. My friend VA advised me to do this. And as we were talking the other day, drinking coffee in his country where he lives now, he said, listen, I never told you, but I want to tell you your face. You made a huge mistake and it really bothered me. Do you know that Awesome Buck, every single dog in his pedigree, like Turner was born in my hands, Crash was born in my hands, Macho was born in my hands, all these was born in my hands, and you named this dog Awesome Buck. It should have been called Awesome Mayday. But you make it up to me by calling his son Awesome Mayday. True story. See, some people have the know-how and some people don't. So I make this video kind of a little bit of a blend. I want the people that understand. Anytime you're looking for information, you got to look at the details and you got to make sure who you're talking to. Because people can talk all these things about matcha. 99% didn't know that Matcha died while her puppies were waiting to get fed. I had 3 dogs of the same breeding. Alondra was the better one, 357. I have suspicious that he was a good dog. He got robbed, but maybe he wasn't that as good of a quality. He had a really, really great mouth. And then I had one called Pechino. He was a total garbage. And so the sisters to Macho Buck were all garbage. Macho Buck himself, the first one, off the chain. He went to a dog later, the second dog called Blue. It's called Blue. Never champions like Awesome Buck did or anything like that. He never risked anything. There was no risk made on his development. And obviously this all history from the past. So, you know, it's completely long time ago. We're talking about the past so the people can understand how that Mayday Blondie came about. Unfortunately for the people that have ideas of Damian, I had to give you the bad news. Damian was just a little dog. Just a little dog. Little dog that was cloud chasing the big dog, Macho one-time winner. And Macho Buck himself is cloud chasing Macho one-time winner. It's unbelievable. Now I'll tell you a little story so you understand. The best dogs produced by Macho cannot shine their shoes on Awesome Mayday. The best dogs produced by Damian, in this case, will be Deadly Speed and Gasolina, cannot shine the shoes on Awesome Buck. Yet Awesome Buck complemented all of them. He's the one that has the big star, which is called Macho one-time winner. And going forward, the next generation after that, Awesome Buck produced the very best. No dog from Damian again, no dog from Matcha again ever produced a dog that produced 3 dogs of the year on a single breeding. As a matter of fact, I believe there's not any leader in the whole world that ever done that. Many different things, many different great things happened in the past. This is all the past. But there is anything else you want to mention? Because I have a lot of things that I can do. I can continue with this.
For the books.
Leave it for the books. Boy, I want to get into the heavy stuff. Can I get into the heavy stuff? Can I get into the heavy duty stuff?
No.
If I get into the heavy duty stuff,
A lot of crybabies.
a lot of crybabies. A lot of people be like, oh my God, where do I hide? Where do I get the glasses? So I'm going to leave it right there. So whenever you see somebody talking about Mayday Blondie dogs, talking about Damian, talking about this, talking about that, remember, I fed the dog, I worked the dog, these hands bred the dog, and when they want semen, these Starks didn't have semen on him, they came to me. When they want Macho Buck semen, they come to me. And when they beg for Awesome Buck semen, they come to me. I'm not trying to say anything else about me. It happens to be that the facts point that I am Chico Lopez. Again, God bless you.